Hello, this is Abhishek Sengupta. Welcome back. Today is 23rd of January. On this day, in the year 1897, the diary of Janaki Nath Bose mentions a note. The note mentions as, I rose early but found Prabha was still suffering. A son was born. In midday, Prabha felt ill, but thank God she somehow got through. Yes, that was the day when Netaji Subash Chandra Bose was born in Cuttack. Life of Subhash Chandra Bose offers many leadership and management lessons to all of us. I must say that tons of books can be written on every single incident. Tons and tons of management lesson can be learned from him. The shelves of books can be written on him. His leadership skills, his leadership lessons. We can learn a lot of leadership lessons from him. Now, great people are always born great. And same happened with Subhash also. On the first day when he was supposed to go to school, he fell from the stairs and could not go to the school. Many say that this was just the mark of the huge struggle he was going to face in his coming days. He got into a European style PE school, but he could not go through and mingle with the happenings over there. He left the school and got into Ravenshaw Collegiate. Now Ravenshaw Collegiate was more of his choice because that was the place where he could feel more like Indians, not like a bonded English person. The principal of Ravenshaw Collegiate, Beni Madhav Das, acted as his guide, but Beni Madhav Das retired before he could spend a lot of time with Subhash. Right from childhood, he was inclined toward religious and spiritual things. Swami Vivekananda's writing entered his life during that time. He was also keen into social service. It was the time when he was supposed to appear for matriculation. His parents were worried because he was not giving adequate time to his studies. But that was Subhash. In spite of his social work and inclination towards religious things, he surprised everyone by ranking second in the university. Now, this gives a key point towards everyone's life. In spite of whatever you do a lot of social work, you do a lot of other works, but your focus has to be there on the real issue. In spite of so many religious work, in spite of so many social works, in spite of so many religious things which young Subhash used to do, he has kept his focus on studies, and that's why he ranked second in the university. After that, he shifted to Calcutta and got into Presidency College. Now here an interesting incident has taken place. He opposed the bad behavior of Professor E.F. Orton. However, Subhash always maintained that he did not manhandle the professor. In spite of denial, Subhash was rusticated from the Presidency College. This incident had its influence on many young minds. Many professors who suffered the same fate in the hands of students were said to be Ortonized. But throughout his life, Subhash denied manhandling Professor Orton. After being rusticated from Presidency College, he carried on his studies at Scottish Church College. The no objection for this from the Presidency and necessary paperwork were done by Sharad Bose, his elder brother. Professor Alton's incident. Now, it is quite evident right from his childhood that Subhash always opposed any improper things. He didn't think of the consequence, but he opposed Alton. So this is again one of the greatness. He suffered many a times, but he stood against any bad thing. He always stood against any injustice. This is another learning from him. A turn in his life came when his father once called him and proposed taking examination of ICS. Now ICS at that point of time used to be the toughest exam, and it was even referred as heaven-born service. Subhash has sought consultancy from many known people. Many opposed him and many supported his decision of going to England to appear for ICS examination. Now, this is again a learning lesson. Whenever an opportunity knocks, we should be ready to grab it. Risks and fear of unknown stops many of us from taking new assignments. Now, this was not the case with Subhash. Even he was new, he never traveled to England, but he has taken his father's proposal and got into this. So in our life and in business, in our work life, wherever we can think of, such kind of situations do come, and during those times the fear factor keeps ringing at the back of the mind. We should take the lesson from Subhash and grab the opportunity. In England, he has got into Cambridge, and his engagement with Indian Majlis was always noted. Over there, he has noted the free atmosphere. So he has compared with heavily policed Kolkata to free England, where the people are free to express their views, where the people are free to criticize, and this has put an impact on young Subhash. Once again, he kept his focus on ICS, and to utter surprise, he came fourth in the ICS examination. This again gives a huge management lesson to all of us. Whatever you do, your focus should be intact on your purpose. You should not lose your focus in spite of whatever might come up. If you lose your focus, your purpose is lost. But in spite of selection, he denied joining ICS because his inner self did not give a consent to work for British. Now, here comes another lesson. You should always listen to your inner self. Most of the time, we get caught up with other people's view, the view from our family members, and we do not listen to our inner self. So here, another lesson comes from Subhash. We should always listen to our inner self. During this time, Subhash has done multiple consultancy over letters with Chittaranjan Das. Chittaranjan Das became his mentor, I must say the political mentor, in the due course. Once he came back, he started interacting with C.R. Das. Now, there was an incident when both Subhash and C.R. Das were locked up in the single jail cell, and Subhash got some of the finest political lessons from him. He even prepared tea for C.R. Das. Many mocked that C.R. Das has got an ICS cook. But here comes another important lesson which we should keep it in mind. We should always get a good mentor. mentorship is an important criterion for anything. Whether you are in corporate or you are running your own business or you are planning to start your own business, the mentoring is an important criterion. Mentors are the people with huge experience in a particular subject or an industry. With their experience, you can really learn a lot of things. Subhash learned a lot of things from C.R. Das. C.R. Das was his true mentor. In municipal election, C.R. Das and Subash Chandra Bose fought the election together. C.R. Das became the mayor of Calcutta and Subhash Chandra Bose became the chief executive officer. The team C.R. Das and Subhash Chandra Bose did some amazing work in Kolkata and addressed many civic issues like health, education, drainage, drinking water, etc. Now here comes an important management lesson of teamwork. These type of works or such kind of works could not be done unless the team pally with each other. Team should always work in hand in glove with each other, exactly the way how Subhash Chandra Bose and C.R. Das worked together. This team did not last too long due to the sudden death of C.R. Das, following which Subhash Chandra Bose was taken into custody and sent to Mandalay prison in Burma. In prison, he kept communicating with his family. Now here comes another important management lesson, communication. Wherever you are, you should always keep the communication going. This communication can really help you to come out of the difficult situation. It is said that during the same time, writer Sharat Chandra Chatterjee wrote a book by the name of Pother Dami in Bengali, which means the demand of the road, wherein he mentioned about an Indian freedom fighter locked in prison. Many say that this was the story of Subhash Chandra Bose. The health of Bose rapidly deteriorated in Burmese prison. Seeing no respite from any corner, his elder brother Sharat Chandra Bose started a campaigning for municipal election in the name of Subhash Chandra Bose with a tagline, "Vote him in to get him out." Bose's nomination was filed from North Kolkata, and to everyone's expectation, he came out with thumping victory. But getting him out of the Mandalay prison was another challenge, which happened in due course of time under the viceroyship of Stanley Jackson. Now here comes another important lesson. Influence of a leader over the general mass is huge, even if the leader is not there physically. Now here comes the great political image of Subhash Chandra Bose. Likewise, a leader may be a business leader, may be a religious leader, whosoever you take it as. His influence is great, whether the person is there in front of mass or is not there in front of the mass. After this episode, Subhash was elected as Congress President in Haripura Congress in 1938. This was the time when some of the most visionary decisions were taken, which includes setting of the planning commission, setting of a vision, and connecting with the general mass. Rapid industrialization of India was also one of the pointers. He was re-elected as Congress President in 1939 in Tripuri Congress. From here, the difference between Congress and Bose started showing up, which resulted in Bose's resignation from Congress. During his leadership, many strong and visionary decisions were taken. This also included start of Constitution Drafting Committee and 5 years plan. Following this, he started Forward Bloc. His influence on common people of India was quite huge. He was taken into house arrest by British. Here comes the story of the Great Escape. During the time, Second World War was knocking at the door, and Subhash was of the notion that this was the best time using which India can gain independence. Great Escape was an interesting incident. During his house arrest, just few days before his birthday, Subhash planned the escape from his house with his nephew Subash Bose. Now, Dr. Subash Bose later became one of the noticed child physician. Subhash used Wanderer BLA 7169. He escaped with his nephew Shishir and went till Gomo station. From there, he took Kalka Mail till Delhi and reached Western Frontier by Frontier Mail. He crossed to Kabul and waited for his next move. He finally traveled as Orlando Mazzotta. Now here comes another important leadership lesson. You can bind a person, but his soul and mind cannot be bind. This is a usual Bengali proverb or saying, you must say. So when he was under house arrest, his intelligence was worth mentioning here. Using his intelligence and meticulous planning, he simply escaped. And by the time British came to know about his escape, he was out of the country. You should make your plan with absolute secrecy. Whenever you are making any leadership plan or any business plan, that should be made with absolute secrecy. Only a few confident people who form the core team should know about the next move. If the next move gets advertised, the competitors can always pick them and make their own stuff. So, take the management lesson or leadership lesson from Bose and make the plan in absolute secrecy. He met Hitler. However, during the meet, Subhash always opposed Germany's attack of Moscow. Subhash always envisioned that as a mistake. Subhash was of the opinion that foreign relation or foreign PR was the most underutilized potential for Indian independence. That was the vision. His thinkings were way ahead of time. Netaji initially planned to reach India with Indian prisoners of war, and he had a strong conviction that Russians will help in the plan. However, Hitler's attack on Russia really spoiled that plan. He made a new plan. He wanted to travel to Singapore. Now here comes another management lesson. You should always have a plan B in case plan A fails. There could be many reasons why a plan could not be executed. At times external factors could not be favorable, at times many different factors might come up, but one should always keep the second plan ready in case of failure of the plan 1. Finally, Netaji requested Hitler to arrange for his transfer till East Asia, Singapore. Netaji selected Abid Hassan for this journey. Netaji traveled from Europe to Asia in a submarine. Netaji and Abid Hassan were the first and only recorded human-to-human transfer from one submarine to other submarine during Second World War. During the travel in submarine, there were many such situations which could even rattle the nerves of the seasoned sailors. But in the submarine, Netaji was the calmest person. At times, the captain of the submarine too gave the example of Netaji. During the submarine travel, Netaji envisioned and planned for a woman regiment, Rani Jhansi regiment. The idea of Rani Jhansi regiment was born over there. Now this was again a visionary decision. During the time when he envisioned Rani Jhansi regiment, that time the women were considered to be an object inside the four walls of a house. But it was Netaji whose vision was way ahead of time, and he made Rani Jhansi regiment. Rani Jhansi regiment has done some wonderful work during INS history. When he reached Singapore, he was welcomed with a song, Subhash Ji, Shan-e-Hind aa gaye. There he took the handover of Azad Hind Force from Ras Bihari Bose. Apart from this, the provincial government of Free India was born there. It is said that the provincial government or Azad Hind government which Subhash has formed in Singapore was way ahead of time. The government in exile had its coin, has its proper financial system, has got military system, has got foreign policy, treasury. It also had a national anthem. The national anthem was Subh Sukh Chain Ki Barkha, an extract of Tagore's Bharat Bhagya Vidhata. This was translated by Captain Abid Hassan and tune was given by Captain Thakori. Just to note here, Netaji specifically mentioned that national anthem should be in military tune and that should have a capacity to awaken every national of India. So here comes the capacity of organizing. The capacity to organize is one of the greatest characteristic or greatest capacity of a leader. The way one can organize, way he can execute. Netaji has got amazing organization skill. Likewise, everyone who is working probably in corporate world or doing business or doing whatever should have some amazing organization skill. This organization skill can really help to bind the team, can help to motivate the team, and not only this, can give the entire team a vision ahead. Azad Hind government also had a radio channel. Netaji was very particular about communication. He kept on communicating during his Mandalay jail time. During his organization time also, he kept communicating with his team, with his countrymen using Azad Hind radio. Now this communication really put an influence over everyone. In every walk of life, communication is an important criterion. Without communication, you cannot keep a team binded together. Instruction need to be properly communicated, vision need to be communicated, etc. etc. Next was his motto of Dilli Chalo. Now, this Dilli Chalo was a two-word phrase, but this phrase has got a huge power. This was the mission and vision of the government. Here comes another lesson. We should always be clear with our mission and vision. We should never compromise our vision and mission under any circumstances, and this should be clearly communicated to the entire team and to the external world as well if required. So his motto of Dilli Chalo, his slogan of Dilli Chalo was just that only. Long walks are never the beds of roses. Like that, time for Azad Hind Force to turn worse after the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Netaji was always a strong decision maker. He dismantled the Azad Hind Force. This was probably one of the toughest decisions of his life. Likewise, for a leader, many a times one need to take unpopular and tough decisions. This is not easy. Many leaders break down. Many organizations break down. Many leaders skip away. Many leaders run away. But Netaji did not. He took the bold decision of dismantling Azad Hind Force. After all, he was Netaji. During dismantling, or rather I must say after dismantling, Netaji made a perfect plan so that the members of Rani Jhansi regiment could reach their place with utmost safety. Now, here comes the responsibility. Responsibility is another lesson from Netaji. Even after dismantling Azad Hind Force, he did not shy away from his responsibility. He did not leave his responsibility. He carried on his responsibility. And he made sure that members of Rani Jhansi regiment reaches their place with full safety. What happened to Netaji was always a question mark for all of us. But that was not the end. That was just the start. Netaji's mission was to awaken the sleeping soul of India, and he was absolutely 100% successful in this. This was proved with many instances. Many mutinies broke up, many protests against British rule started coming up. Officers and forces stopped accepting the orders from their British bosses. Many mutinies broke out. Same was the situation in government offices. During the Lal Killa trial, the people standing outside Lal Killa were chanting continuously, Sehgal Dhillan Shahnawaz, Lal Kile se aayi awaaz, tum sabko umar nawaz. They were taking the names of 3 leaders of Azad Hind Force. The legacy of Netaji still remains. Even in the present day world, whenever we think of a strong, visionary and dynamic leader, we think of one person. That's Netaji. कदम बढ़ाए जा, खुशी के गीत गाए जा, ये जिंदगी है कौम की, तो कौम पे लुटाए जा। कदम बढ़ाए जा, खुशी के गीत गाए जा, ये जिंदगी है कौम